gathered to commemorate a pivotal moment in our nation's history, the adoption of the Indian Constitution. November 26th, celebrated as the Constitution Day, marks the culmination of years of tireless efforts by our founding parents to craft a document that would shape the destiny of our great nation. As we celebrate this magnificent document, which is the foundation upon which our democratic edifice rests, we are honored to have amidst us Shri Narendra Damodar Das Modi, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Honorable Shri Justice Sanjeev Khanna, Chief Justice of India, Honorable Shri Justice B.R. Gavai, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Honorable Shri Justice Suryakant, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Honorable Minister of State for Law and Justice, Independent Charge, Shri R. Venkat Ramani, Learned Attorney General for India, Shri Manan Kumar Mishra, Chairman, Bar Council of India, and Shri Kapil Sibal, President, Supreme Court Bar Association. On this landmark day, I humbly request Honorable Shri Justice B.R. Gavai, Judge, Supreme Court of India, to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, my esteemed colleagues at the Supreme Court, Justice Suryakant, my other distinguished sisters and judges of the Supreme Court of India, Minister of State for Law and Justice, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, Attorney General for India, Shri R. Venkat Ramani, Solicitor General of India, Shri Tushar Mehta, and the law officers, the Honorable former Chief Justice and the judges of the Supreme Court of India, the Chief Justice and judges of the various high courts who are present here, and we are also joined virtually, the Chairman of the Bar Council of India, Shri Manan Kumar Mishra, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Shri Kapil Sibal, members of the Bar and the Registry, dear guests and members of the audience. Good evening to everyone. It is my privilege to extend a warm welcome to all of you on this momentous occasion. Today, we gather to celebrate a historic milestone, 75 years since the adoption of our Constitution. The adoption of the Constitution was a tectonic shift in the history of India, which redefined the nation's identity and aspirations. It not only affirmed India's sovereignty, but also laid the foundation for a new social order for its people. The framing of the Constitution was, however, not an easy task. It was a process that went through years of discussions, deliberations, and negotiations. If one reads the Constituent Assembly debates, it would be evident that every member had distinct views on various constitutional provisions. But despite their differing perspectives on several issues, the framers of our Constitution stood united in their singular vision to give the people of India their own Constitution that would empower them, safeguard their rights, and guarantee their freedoms. This monumental effort was not merely about drafting a legal framework, but about laying the cornerstone of a nation built on the principles of justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. Over the past 75 years, we have witnessed remarkable progress since that historic moment when the Constitution was adopted. Our democratic institutions have continuously evolved, striving to strengthen the constitutional protections and rights enshrined within this foundational document. Through their actions, our institutions, including the judiciary, have worked to translate the lofty constitutional ideals into tangible realities for the people of India. The people of India have also shown respect and sense of ownership towards the Constitution. Across generations, the Constitution has represented the aspirations and unity of our diverse nation. In particular, the marginalized communities have drawn strength from the values embedded in the Constitution. They often evoke its principles to advocate for their rights. This enduring relationship between the Constitution and the people is a testament to its role as both a protector and a catalyst for social change, ensuring that the voices of all, especially the most vulnerable, are heard and respected. Today, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has graced the occasion with his presence. Under his leadership, the Union government had a decade ago in 2015 officially declared November 26 as a Constitution Day. On behalf of the Supreme Court of India, I welcome him with warm regards. I also welcome the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, as well as my past and present colleagues. Over the last 75 years, the judges of the Supreme Court have tirelessly dedicated themselves to delivering justice to the people of our nation. This unwavering commitment has ensured that the doors of justice remain accessible to even the most marginalized members of society. I extend my warm welcome to the Honorable Minister of State for Law and Justice, the Learned Attorney General for India, the Learned Solicitor General, the Chairman and members of the Bar Council of India, the President and Office Bearers of SCBA, the Office Bearers of SCORA, the senior lawyers, members of the Bar, the registrars, and the staff of the Supreme Court. When we celebrate our progress, it is equally important to reflect on the nation's journey under the guiding principles of the Constitution and to renew our commitment to upholding its values in every aspect of life. In his final address to the Constituent Assembly on November 25, 1949, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chairman of the drafting committee, emphasized the principles of fraternity as the cornerstone of constitutional values. According to him, and I quote, "Fraternity means a sense of common brotherhood of all Indians. If Indians being one people, it is the principle which gives unity and solidarity to social life." In his words, fraternity is another name for democracy. We must continue to embrace this vision articulated by Dr. Ambedkar and the framers of our Constitution. By doing so, we can advance towards a future defined by progress, equality, and justice for all. With these words, I once again welcome all of you and extend my greetings to the people of India on the occasion of the Constitution Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an enlightening address where you have so lucidly highlighted the transformative potential of the Indian Constitution. With this, I would now like to request Sri Kapil Sibal, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, to address this august gathering.
Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, Chief Justice of India, Shri Sanjeev Khanna, Justice B.R. Gawai, Justice Suryakant, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Minister of State for Law and Justice, Attorney General Venkat Ramani ji, Solicitor General Manan Kumar Mishra, ex-Chief Justices of the Court, of the Supreme Court, of the High Courts, ex-judges of the High Court, distinguished members of the legal fraternity, senior advocates, members of the bar. We come here today to commemorate and renew our commitment to the vision of our founding fathers and mothers who bequeathed us this republic by which we govern ourselves as free people. As we contemplate the intellectual accomplishments of our constitution makers, we must also remember the audacity of their vision. The greatness of our constitution framers lay in the fact that they dared to think for themselves, dream of a world they wanted, and through sheer force of will, bent the arc of history to bring that world into existence. We stand here as that realized dream of our constitutional visionaries and of the millions of freedom fighters who gave birth to this country. Farmers, factory workers, laborers, women, weavers, writers, all who put their bodies, their families, their very lives on the line in the hope that one day we, citizens of a free, pluralistic, and democratic India, could come to be a republic. Central to any republic is not the state apparatus, but the public. It is this public that constitutes our nation, and it is the public that has entrusted to various wings of government the political obligation to perform certain duties that serve their needs. The expression public is without reference to caste, class, religion, tribe, place of birth, gender, sexual identity, or disabilities, a concept that is built into the architecture of our republic, which is the Equality Code, comprising Articles 14, 15, 16 of our Constitution, guaranteeing equality and non-discrimination in all respects to all persons and for an individual's participation in public life on that basis. The principle of the rule of law also reflects the centrality of the public, for it mandates a system of governance and administration of justice where all persons are equal before the law and are equally governed by the law. In other words, a political system where power lies in the hands of the people, who are all equal bearers of sovereignty collectively bestowed upon government as an agent of the people. Thus, any law or state action that actively discriminates or gives untrammeled power to government goes against the very notion of a republic. At various moments in the 75 years of our Constitution, governments have forgotten the centrality of its obligations to the public, leading to situations where law is used for personal and political agendas. This is a deviation from the rule of law, which is the leitmotif of any responsible government. Constitutional courts play the very important role of reminding government of the centrality of the public in our republic. Courts are the ones who need to interpret the law to ensure that it is not disproportionate, that it has checks and balances to prevent government excesses, that it is non-discriminatory, and that it does not impinge upon the liberty of the very people whose sovereign power it draws authority from. The bench and the bar both play a very important part in this process. It is the commitment of those who comprise the bench and the bar to our constitutional promises that ensures that the rule of law prevails. Since the birth of our republic, this court has on many occasions fulfilled its constitutional role admirably by standing firmly against arbitrary and excessive government action through judgments that are truly seminal in every sense of the word. This court has been a model for constitutional courts around the world in its innovation and its boldness, which is evident in the basic structure doctrine, embracing substantive equality, in recognizing the right to privacy, in the realization of socio-economic rights through public interest litigation, just to name a few. In any nation, there are bound to be aberrations where even courts deviate from the centrality of the public. And while we celebrate the past, we must ensure that all arms of government, including courts, remain vigilant to their duty to the Constitution. Ultimately, we are here to serve the public, and the work we do in this institution is not for ourselves, but is in trust for future generations, so that each of them may also be born into and grow up as equal citizens in a democratic nation. It is with this commitment that we all must move forward. Every decade brings its new challenges. The law must match with the aspirations of the people, weaving the wisdom of the past with a strong awareness of changing social contexts to craft principled and imaginative answers to hard questions. For as Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar exhorted us all in his final speech in the Constituent Assembly, and I quote, "Let us not forget that this independence has thrown on us great responsibilities. By independence, we have lost the excuse of blaming the British for anything going wrong. If hereafter things go wrong, we will have nobody to blame except ourselves. If we wish to preserve the Constitution, in which we have sought to enshrine the principle of government of the people, for the people, and by the people, let us resolve not to be tardy in the recognition of the evils that lie across our path, and which will induce people to prefer government for the people to government by the people, nor to be weak in our initiative to remove them. That is the only way to serve the country. I know no better." Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this thought-provoking address. May I now request Srimanan Kumar Mishra, Chairman Bar Council of India, to address this august assembly.
Honorable the Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Sri Sanjeev Khanna ji, Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, Honorable Mr. Justice Surjkant, Judges, Supreme Court of India, Honorable Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, the Minister for Law and Justice, the Attorney General for India, the Solicitor General of India, Mr. Kapil Sibal, President SCBA, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, the High Courts, ladies, gentlemen, and the media people. Everybody knows that India's written constitution is longest but everlasting. Pakistan and Bangladesh had also crafted written constitutions, but they were scattered with civil and military dictatorship. Our country is the fastest growing economies, third in the world today. The reason behind is the smooth implementation of our constitution, the hard work, dedication, and devotion of the chief guest, Honorable Narendra Modi ji. Friends, in March 1940, before the British left our country, the Muslim League passed a resolution in Lahore demanding that Muslim-dominated areas should be separated. The Indian Independence Act 1947 by British government declared two dominances, Dominion of India and Dominion of Pakistan. Today, our constitution has become paradise of a few politicians. Those who are attacking the government and who are trying to mislead the people by frequently threatening that the constitution will be changed by Modi ji's government must remember the past. And as lawyers, it is our duty to make the younger generation aware of the past about the 42nd Amendment done during the Congress regime. The power of judicial review of Supreme Court and High Courts were curtailed. The state's autonomy was reduced. Important fundamental rights were taken away. Friends, it is ridiculous that those people and parties who had almost scrapped the constitution while in power are telling that Samvidhan or Arakshan khatre mein hai. As Prime Minister, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji said reservation has to continue. Even in promotions, the SCs and STs got the benefit in promotions also by relaxation in qualifying marks. Our Modi ji also asserts always reservation will continue. Thanks to the people of the country, people of Haryana and Maharashtra, that they understood the reality and reposed their faith in Modi ji. The right to education was made a fundamental right under Article 21A during the regime of Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji in the year 2002. Long back, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar ji had the idea of making the constitution a constructive and live document. But those ideas could be truly implemented only after 2014 under the able leadership of our beloved Narendra Modi ji. Citizenship Amendment Act, Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act, abolition of Article 370, laws prohibiting triple talaq, 10% reservation for economically weaker sections, reservation for women in legislature, all have emanated from the concept of fundamental rights under Part 3 of our Constitution. Friends, the words of Harry Wolff, like old clocks, our judicial institutions need to be oiled, wound up, and set to true time. The frequent and flagrant misuse of some of the provisions of Part 3 of our Constitution is very shameful and dangerous. Some of the politicians are in the habit of misusing the right of freedom of speech and expression. The mockery of handbook of our Constitution for vote politics, misleading the people in the name of reservation, are glaring examples of such misuse. Sir, the Supreme Court and the High Courts are not supposed to shut their eyes when the handful of politicians sitting in power are attempting to change the demography of their territories. The illegal infiltration, forcible conversion of people's faith in the states like West Bengal and Jharkhand should not be protected in the garb of Article 25. Conversion of people in tribal areas and eroded inhabitants is happening daily, and the persons sitting in power in those states are encouraging such malpractices just for vote politics. Sir, judiciary will have to take suo motu cognizance of such unfortunate events. केंद्र सरकार और हमारे मोदी जी प्रयास कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सक्रिय सहयोग की आवश्यकता होगी. Our constitution has made the Supreme Court and the High Courts very strong, and judiciary is not supposed to get scared of any politics. If the Supreme Court keeps silence, the future of the nation would be at stake, and the sinister game to divide our country may succeed. So, our judiciary will have to work in tandem with Modi ji and the central government. Sir, the proposed amendments in Waqf Board are fully in tune with constitutional provisions of right to equality. We stand with the government on this issue also. I, as the chairman of Bar Council of India, strongly stand for the independence of judiciary. लेकिन जनाब, मैं ये नहीं कहता कि आप सरकार के मुताबिक फैसले करें. आप जनता के लिए, जनता के हित में फैसले करें. जनता ने यदि अपना विश्वास माननीय मोदी जी, माननीय अमित शाह जी में व्यक्त किया है, तो इनकी आवाज, इनके द्वारा तय की गई नीतियां जनता के द्वारा तय की मानी जाएंगी. तो नीतिगत मामलों में केंद्र सरकार का साथ देकर यदि अन्याय को रोका जाए, तभी जनता के साथ न्याय होगा. थैंक यू एंड थैंक्स टू आवर सुप्रीम कोर्ट, जिसने 370 हटाने के फैसले को बरकरार रखा. संविधान में बाबा साहब ने आपको बहुत ताकत दी है, जिससे आप देश की और जनता की सुरक्षा बखूबी कर सकते हैं. जय हिंद, जय भारत, नमस्कार.
Thank you, sir. Moving ahead, I would like to request Sri R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, to say a few words on this historic occasion.
Respected Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Chief Justice of India, Honorable Judges S. Gawai and Justice Suryakant, respected Arjun Ram Meghwal, Minister for Law and Justice, my dear friends Kapil Sibal, Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General, and all the dignitaries assembled here, former Chief Justices and Judges of the Supreme Court. It's my duty to welcome all of you on behalf of the legal fraternity of India, a fraternity of sisters and brothers whose common allegiance and common call is to the Constitution of India, and more importantly, its endurance. The endurance of the Constitution is a product of the Holy Alliance, the alliance of the people of India, the institutions of governance, and the institution of justice. The call of the legal profession is to serve this Holy Alliance. While the profession engages in the service every day consciously and with full dedication or otherwise, the Constitution Day is a day for stock taking and for engagement on future roadmaps, not as a ritual, not as a ceremony, but with the very act of assembling, we certify the solemnity of the day. I visualize those serious days of engagement with members of the Constituent Assembly, driven by perseveration of the highest order, and we must thank all of them for giving us a precious document to be protected, preserved, nurtured, and transmitted to the future generations with all the strength and resilience we should bestow upon it during our lifetimes. All of us, being custodians of the great and perennial values of Bharat, with its history of celebration of diversity, are also custodians of the Constitution. The question, however, would always be, how faithful are we in our roles as custodians? How accommodative are we in bridging and narrowing the social gaps which require and deserve elevated levels of resolutions? How inclined are we to astutely avoid wasteful and distorting social conversations which can debilitate our social fabric? How wedded are we to envision and innovate ideas, methods, procedures, and institutions to promote and realize equality and equal regard? And how conscious are we about what Rabindranath Tagore called the narrow domestic walls that can engender our togetherness as a nation? All these questions are questions of being custodians of the Constitution. During an address at a special session of the Parliament of Guyana, Honorable Prime Minister said that India was never expansionist, stayed away from further other resources. This is a timely statement of huge value for global consumption, and it underscores India as a country of sharing. I think the Constitution of India is not merely a document which codifies public and private power, and is a document symbolizing the values of sharing all the common resources and the common wealth of the nation through an orderly process. It is this orderly process that Part 3 and Part 4 of the Constitution have elegantly scripted. So it is that we assemble year after year to celebrate the birth and the endurance of the Constitution to the Holy Alliance I mentioned above. In a letter written from New York on 7th August 1895, Swami Vivekananda wrote thus: "Neither numbers, nor powers, nor wealth, nor learning, nor eloquence, nor anything else will prevail, but purity, living the life, in one word, anubhuti, realization." He went on to say, "He who pours water at the root, does he not water the old tree?" As we talk about celebrating 75 years of our Constitution, we are talking about pouring water with care and attention at the root, which is a Constitution, and about flourishing the whole nation, which is a tree. But we have many miles to go before we can say a good part of the constitutional goals have been realized. 75 years of constitutional working with all possible economic and social experiments have demonstrated that no one singular economic model will work. India stands tall today in the global scene socially, politically, and economically with calibrated achievements in many fields, and the credit must go to the wide range of players in governance. I suppose that faith in constitutional governance has made that possible. With the irreversibilities of globalization and the bounties of technology that humanity has not seen earlier, we have the realization that a free world of ideas and endeavors creates and generates wealth and resources good for all. The foundations for equality are thus newly laid. We are called upon to open up new plans and roadmaps for the equality march. Our Constitution permits these experiments with all due regulations, and our courts will endorse such plans and insofar as diversity and legitimate claims are duly addressed. We, the people of India, have a duty to ensure that the Constitution endures, and only an enduring Constitution can script ordered liberty. Both rights and liberties running riot or restrictions which stifle or discriminate are anathema to an enduring Constitution. Judicial interventions with legislative measures conceived as immune from court scrutiny, such as legislations placed in the 9th schedule, have shown that the separation of powers will take many avatars. While such avatars can be part of rule of law, as some recent judgments show, it will be equally important that given the complexities of challenges raised by the multitude of factors, global and domestic, many of which do not admit of any easy and simple solutions, one expects that parliamentary experiments and executive deliberations will not be easily halted. We are talking about the balance between rigidity and flexibility in constitutional practice. A conversation attributed to Gautam Buddha with his disciple Swana reads like this: when were you a householder? Were you skilled at playing the lute? Yes, Lord. When the strings of the lute were too taut, was it tuneful and fit for playing? Certainly not, Lord. And when they were slack, was the lute tuneful and fit for playing? No, Lord. But when the strings were neither too taut nor too slack, but were keyed to an even pitch, was your lute tuneful and fit for playing? Yes, Lord. Even so, Swana, is the dharma that I propose. I suppose on this day that you're talking about the dharma of keeping the Constitution neither too taut nor too slack, but tuneful and fit for working. Our criminal justice system is awaiting considerable changes in addition to the 3 well-meaning legislation that have been enacted. There is a lot more to be done in order that the justice needs of the poor and the deprived are met adequately and without delay. The criminal justice system must generate the comfort level which alone can be an index of a fair and just society. Our prison houses will then become places of real correction, as the justice system would have done better. Maybe it's time that we seriously think about a national criminal justice administration institution which can produce the kind of results we are talking about. I am tempted to say that in due proportion to our conduct in keeping the Constitution as an enduring document, India will be a land most admired. Xuanzang, a Chinese traveler long ago, wrote in the early 17th century, he said, people of different places with diverse customs generally designate the land they most admire as India. I quote, on the occasion of celebrating 75 years of a constitution, can we not in chorus say that it demands of us to constantly try to reach and retain this admiration walking the path of the constitution? Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir, for reminding us through your address that our Constitution is not just a document, but a living, breathing entity that has shaped our nation's history and which will continue to do so for the times to come. May I now request Sri Arjun Ram Meghwalji, Honorable Minister of State for Law and Justice, to kindly address this august gathering.
भारत के संविधान के 75 वर्ष की गौरवमय यात्रा को सेलिब्रेट करने के अवसर पर माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के प्रांगण में आयोजित इस भव्य समारोह में उपस्थित विकसित भारत के संकल्प को सिद्धि में साकार करने हेतु प्रतिबद्ध भारत के यशस्वी, तपस्वी और कर्मयोगी प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी, देश के सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के विजनरी एवं डायनेमिक मुख्य न्यायाधीश न्यायमूर्ति श्री संजीव खन्ना जी, सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश माननीय न्यायमूर्ति श्री भूषण रामकृष्ण गवई जी, सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश माननीय न्यायमूर्ति श्री सूर्यकांत जी, श्री आर वेंकटरमणी जी, अटॉर्नी जनरल ऑफ इंडिया मनन कुमार मिश्रा जी, चेयरमैन बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया, श्री कपिल सिब्बल जी, प्रेसिडेंट सुप्रीम कोर्ट बार एसोसिएशन, श्री तुषार मेहता जी, सॉलिसिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया, तथा उपस्थित माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय व उच्च न्यायालयों के अन्य सभी माननीय न्यायाधीशगण, वरिष्ठ अधिवक्तागण, मीडिया बंधु तथा वर्चुअल रूप से जुड़े हुए सभी श्रोतागण, संविधान दिवस की आप सभी को बहुत बहुत बधाई और शुभकामनाएं। भारतीय संविधान अडॉप्शन की 75वीं वर्षगांठ के अवसर पर आयोजित इस भव्य कार्यक्रम में आप सभी के साथ शामिल होना मेरे लिए अत्यंत हर्ष का विषय है। भारत का संविधान भारत की एकता, अखंडता, प्रगति तथा शांति और समृद्धि का मूल आधार है। ये मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी के रूप में प्रतिष्ठित विश्व के सबसे बड़े लोकतंत्र भारत के लोकतांत्रिक आदर्शों का जीवंत दस्तावेज भी है। भारत का संविधान एक ओर जहां नागरिकों को सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक न्याय व मौलिक अधिकार देने का प्रावधान करता है, वहीं दूसरी ओर नीति निर्देशक तत्वों के माध्यम से सरकार को सुशासन का मार्ग भी प्रशस्त करता है। संविधान एक ओर जहां नागरिकों को मौलिक अधिकार प्रदान करता है, वहीं दूसरी ओर नागरिकों का कर्तव्य बोध भी करवाता है और केंद्र और राज्यों के मध्य आपसी समन्वय व नीतिगत विषयों का क्लियर विभाजन भी करता है। वहीं दूसरी ओर थर्ड टायर गवर्नेंस के माध्यम से ग्रास रूट पर सुशासन की राह दिखाता भी है। विविधताओं से भरे देश की एकता व अखंडता को लेकर संविधान कठोर भी है, वहीं राष्ट्र की आशा आकांक्षाओं को पूरा करने की प्रतिबद्धता के साथ लचीला भी है। भारत के संविधान के द्वारा शासन के तीनों ऑर्गन्स विधायिका, न्यायपालिका व कार्यपालिका के मध्य दायित्वों का स्पष्ट विभाजन किया गया है। तीनों के समन्वय का ही परिणाम है कि भारत का लोकतंत्र समय के साथ और मजबूत और परिपक्व होकर प्रगति के पथ पर निरंतर आगे बढ़ रहा है। संविधान के कस्टोडियन माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट परिसर में आयोजित इस समारोह में मैं उल्लेख करना चाहूंगा कि संविधान सभा में प्रोविंशियल लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबलीज से इलेक्ट 292 सदस्यों, रियासतों के प्रतिनिधि के रूप में 93 सदस्यों व चीफ कमिश्नर प्रोविंस के प्रतिनिधियों के रूप में 4 सदस्यों ने अपना अमूल्य योगदान दिया था। इस अवसर पर मैं इन सभी सदस्यों, बाबा साहब डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर सहित ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी के अन्य सदस्यों, विशेषकर मातृशक्ति का प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाली 15 महिला सदस्यों को श्रद्धापूर्वक नमन करता हूं और राष्ट्र निर्माण के महान कार्य में जुटे सभी सदस्यों की दूरदर्शिता को ध्यान में रखकर बेहतर भविष्य की प्रेरणा लेते हुए चिंतन मनन मंथन करने का आह्वान करता हूं। सार रूप में कहा जाए तो भारत का ये पवित्र दस्तावेज हमारे लिए गाइडिंग लाइट है। ये भारत की हजारों वर्षों की अखंड परंपरा को समाहित किए सांस्कृतिक मूल्यों के अंतर्निहित कलेक्टिव विजडम की आधुनिक अभिव्यक्ति भी है। संविधान निर्माता डॉक्टर बाबा साहब अंबेडकर ने संविधान सभा में कहा था, द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of the life and its spirit is always the spirit of age. आज के 75 वर्ष पूर्व कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अडॉप्शन की पूर्व संध्या अर्थात 25 नवंबर 1949 को डॉक्टर अंबेडकर जी ने हमें सावधान किया था कि 26 जनवरी 1950 को हम एक ऐसी विरोधाभास से भरी अवस्था में प्रवेश करने जा रहे हैं जहां वन मैन वन वोट वन वैल्यू के सिद्धांत पर राजनीतिक समानता हमें प्राप्त हो जाएगी, पॉलिटिकल इक्वलिटी, लेकिन सामाजिक और आर्थिक क्षेत्र में समानता के लिए निरंतर प्रयास करने होंगे। संवैधानिक मूल्यों के सच्चे संवाहक के रूप में प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में गरीब, किसान, महिला व युवाओं को केंद्र में रखकर जन कल्याणकारी योजनाओं के इफेक्टिव इंप्लीमेंटेशन से आर्थिक सामाजिक समानता के लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त कर रहे हैं। इसी का नतीजा है कि 2013-14 से 2022-23 के बीच में 25 करोड़ से अधिक लोग गरीबी से बाहर निकले हैं। ये हमारा बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट है प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 2047 तक भारत को विकसित भारत बनाने का जो लक्ष्य रखा है, उसे सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास के माध्यम से हम अवश्य प्राप्त करेंगे। संविधान की 75वीं सालगिरह के अवसर पर भारत सरकार ने हमारा संविधान हमारा स्वाभिमान अभियान के रूप में वर्ष भर चलने वाले ऐतिहासिक समारोह की घोषणा की है। इसी क्रम में विधि एवं न्याय मंत्रालय द्वारा 24 जनवरी 2024 को भारत के उपराष्ट्रपति जी श्री जगदीप जी धनखड़ जी के द्वारा के कर कमलों से हमारा संविधान हमारा सम्मान कार्यक्रम की भी शुरुआत की थी। एक प्रोग्राम में बीकानेर में हमारे डॉक्टर डी वाई चंद्रचूड़ साहब जो एक्स चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया है, उन्होंने भी शिरकत की थी। प्रयागराज और गुवाहाटी में भी क्षेत्रीय कार्यक्रम आयोजित किए जा चुके हैं। अंत में मैं 4 पंक्तियों के माध्यम से भारतीय संविधान और भारतीय लोकतंत्र का नमन करना चाहता हूं। संविधान है भारत की शान, संविधान है भारत की शान, हर नागरिक का गर्वित गान, न्याय, स्वतंत्रता, समता और भाईचारे का है दीप, विविधता में एकता का है अनमोल नीप। संविधान है हर धर्म, जाति, भाषा का मान और संविधान ही सबके सपनों का है सम्मान। लोकतंत्र का है जो सुंदर श्रृंगार, संविधान ही है विकसित भारत का आधार। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you so much, sir. Your words echoed the sentiments of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the father of our Indian Constitution, who played a pivotal role in shaping our nation. With this, may I now request Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, to please share his thoughts with us on this special occasion.
Respected Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Justice B.R. Gawai, Judge Supreme Court of India, Mr. Justice Surya Kant, Judge Supreme Court of India, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Minister of State, Ministry of Law and Justice, Mr. R. Venkataramani, Attorney General of India, Mr. Manan Kumar Mishra, President Bar Council of India, Mr. Kapil Sibal, President Supreme Court Bar Association, Judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts, former Chief Justices, former Judges of the Supreme Court, members of the Bar, distinguished audience, Namaste and a very good evening. 75 years ago, on 26 November 1959, a defining moment in India's history unfolded. The Constitutional Assembly adopted the Constitution of India. Today, we honor this historic occasion not merely as a celebration of adoption, but as an ode to living, breathing document that is the Constitution. We, the people of India, consider it to be a way of our lives. It is our pledge to honor, uphold, and protect Constitution of India as its trustee and custodian. The Constitution bestows upon the Constitutional Court the power of judicial review. This enables us to strike down amendments to the Constitution, the legislation, the executive policy, administrative, and quasi-judicial decisions. We entertain public interest litigation, initiate suo motu cases, appoint amicus curiae to aid our decision making. The district courts, the first point of contact for most citizens, adjudicate disputes and in this manner enforce fundamental rights and other rights available in law. Sorry. The role of a judge is often likened to walking on a razor's edge. Each case we hear requires balancing competing rights and obligations with fairness, empathy, and precision. Every judgment we render is a zero-sum game. It inevitably creates winners and losers, inviting celebration from some and criticism from others. This is dual. This is the duality which invites scrutiny into the functioning of the courts. For some, the constitutional courts in India are among the most powerful in the world. For others, we are straying from our constitutional duties, sometimes by falling to challenge the status quo or in resisting the transient popular mandate of the electorate. As judges, perspectives and critique matter because our foremost duty is towards the public, and secondly, being open and transparent is the biggest strength of the judiciary. As adjudicators, we eschew any sense of being beyond reproach. In being responsive to constructive feedback, our courts become more efficient, citizens, and public-centric, and accountable. By opening ourselves to scrutiny, we can identify systematic inefficiencies and bottlenecks and work towards eliminating them. However, sometimes critics question, how can an unelected judiciary justify its significant power in a democracy? But imagine a world where judges campaign for roles, solicit views, decisions from public, and make promises for future judgments. The Constitution, by design, insulates the judiciary from the ebbs and flows of the electoral process. This ensures that its decisions are unbiased without any fiction or ill will, free from external pressures, and guided solely by the Constitution and the laws. At the same time, each branch of the government is not a satellite independent or in an independent orbit, but rather a related actor which works in a degree of separateness. There is interdependence, autonomy, as well reciprocity. Each branch must honor its constitutionally assigned distinct role while nurturing interinstitutional equilibrium. When properly understood, judicial independence serves not as a high wall, but as a bridge, catalyzing the nurturing of the Constitution, fundamental rights, and the governance framework. When a citizen challenges a law or an executive action, they participate in the democratic process as envisaged by the Constitution. The judiciary becomes an arena where ideas of our republic are continuously tested, refined, affirmed, or molded. I would like to highlight certain areas of concern which are today engulfing the judiciary. These are areas and backlog of cases, delays, cost of litigation, excess and lack of ease of access to justice, large number of under trial prisoners, and phenomenon what I term is want of truth or truth deficit. I will not like to highlight each one of them, but focus on two, three. To begin, the scale of cases flowing into the Indian court is staggering. This year alone, our judicial system received over 2.8 thousand crore cases in the district courts and about 16.6 lakh cases in the High Court and around 54,000 cases in the Supreme Court. Therefore, it is not surprising that there are more than 4.54 crore cases pending in the district courts and 61 lakh cases pending in the high courts. These numbers reflect the challenge, and yet they represent deep trust citizens place on our courts as ultimate arbiters of justice. Our district courts have shown remarkable improvement in efficiency, particularly in civil matters. The case clearance rate, a key metric of judicial productivity, has risen steadily from 98.29% in 2022 to impressive 101.74% in 2024. Last year alone, our district courts resolved over 20 lakh criminal cases and more than 8 lakh civil cases. The Supreme Court, too, has enhanced its performance, with our case clearance rate climbing from 95% to 97%. These improvements, while encouraging, remind us that our journey towards efficient justice system is ongoing and a lot of steps have still to be taken. We must also thank the Government of India, which had approved rupees 7,200 crores for phase 3 of the e-court project, ensuring that the judiciary is equipped to perform its core functions. Real-time transcription and speech-to-text tools by the Supreme Court and now by some of the district courts attempt to address the issue of truth deficit, improving justice delivery. The National Judicial Data Grid, a comprehensive repository of case and litigation details, aids policy formulation by providing insight into performance, appraisals, and infrastructure needs. We have often spoken about the need for judicial impact assessment at the time when the laws are enacted. However, there's another element of judicial impact assessment. This is in form of statistics and data in the grid for analyzing the laws and their implementation. In this data-driven era, availability of judicial statistics represents an untapped opportunity for conduct of thorough impact assessment and transform governance. Judicial impact assessment is a tool to identify, modify, repeal, reenact laws and their correction. It enables us to create corrective steps where the law is burdensome for the people to follow or implementation is problematic. For example, the backlog of check bouncing cases in our district courts have reached an alarming portion, nearly 9% of the cases pending in the trial court. Data also reveals plea bargaining has been a non-starter. Compounding and probation have not gained acceptance. Perhaps these require legislative interference. Two statistics reveal an insightful contrast in our judicial system. While current prison population stands at 5.23 lakh prisoners, our judicial workforce comprises of about 20,000 judges and judicial officers in the district level, and about 750 judges in the High Court. This vast disparity for those seeking justice and those tasked with dispensing it should typically forecast a paralyzed system. Yet data tells a different story. In 2022, in spite of influx of 18 lakh new inmates, the judiciary facilitated release of about 15 lakh prisoners, out of which 3 lakh under trials were released within the first year, achieving 69% release rate. 2024 data further highlights this efficiency. By November 24, courts had released about 5.38 lakh prisoners, surpassing 5.29 new admissions. Albert Einstein had once said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Instead, to move forward, we must rethink, reimagine, and act with a renewed vision. Our country began as a unique democratic experiment, the most ambitious of its kind. Not only have we been successful, but we have come to a realization that achieving democratic ideals is a collective inspiration. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for this beautiful address. We realize that as we celebrate and cherish this sacred document, we must also commit ourselves to preserving its sanctity and upholding its principles. The annual report of the Indian judiciary 2023-24 is a comprehensive report prepared by the Supreme Court of India. It offers valuable insights into the working of the Indian judicial system, highlighting its achievements, challenges, and the future course of action. I now request the Honorable Prime Minister of India to kindly release this report virtually.
The Supreme Court of India every year endeavors to publish its annual report titled Indian Judiciary Annual Report. This edition is for the year 2023-24 and is structured into two volumes. Volume 1 focuses on in-depth insight on the functioning of the Supreme Court of India, while Volume 2 is dedicated to the functioning and administrative achievements of all the 25 high courts. Today, on Samvidhan Divas, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, is releasing both the volumes.
Thank you, sir. On this special occasion, may I now request Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, to present a painting made by a prisoner lodged in the Tihar jail, who is also an accomplished artist, to the Honorable Prime Minister of India. अब मैं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से विनम्र निवेदन करती हूं कि वो इस सभागार में उपस्थित सभी गणमान्य अतिथियों एवं श्रोतागण को संबोधित करें।
भारत के मुख्य न्यायाधीश जस्टिस संजीव खन्ना जी, जस्टिस बी.आर. गवाई जी, जस्टिस सूर्यकांत जी, केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल के मेरे साथी श्रीमान अर्जुन मेघवाल जी, अटॉर्नी जनरल श्री वेंकट रमणी जी, बार काउंसिल के अध्यक्ष मनन कुमार मिश्र जी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट बार एसोसिएशन के अध्यक्ष श्री कपिल सिब्बल जी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के न्यायमूर्तिगण, पूर्व मुख्य न्यायाधीशगण, उपस्थित अन्य महानुभाव, देवी और सज्जनों, आपको सभी देशवासियों को संविधान दिवस की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। भारत के संविधान का ये 75वां साल पूरे देश के लिए एक असीम गौरव का विषय है। मैं आज भारत के संविधान को, संविधान सभा के सभी सदस्यों को आदरपूर्वक नमन करता हूं। साथियों, हम लोकतंत्र के इस महत्वपूर्ण पर्व का जब स्मरण कर रहे उस समय ये भी नहीं भूल सकते कि आज मुंबई में हुए आतंकी हमले की भी बरसी है। इस हमले में जिन व्यक्तियों का निधन हुआ उन्हें मैं अपनी श्रद्धांजलि देता हूं। मैं देश का ये संकल्प भी दोहराता हूं कि भारत की सुरक्षा को चुनौती देने वाले हर आतंकी संगठन को मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया जाएगा। साथियों, संविधान सभा की लंबी बहस के दौरान भारत के गणतांत्रिक भविष्य पर गंभीर चर्चाएं हुई थी। आप सभी उस डिबेट से भलीभांति परिचित हैं और तब बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर ने कहा था, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज नॉट अ mere lawyer's document. Its a spirit is always the spirit of age. जिस स्पिरिट की बात बाबा साहब कहते थे वो बहुत ही अहम है। देश काल परिस्थिति के हिसाब से उचित निर्णय लेकर हम संविधान की समय समय पर व्याख्या कर सकें, ये प्रावधान हमारे संविधान निर्माताओं ने हमें दिया है। हमारे संविधान निर्माता ये जानते थे कि भारत की आकांक्षाएं, भारत के सपने समय के साथ नई ऊंचाई पर पहुंचेंगे। वो जानते थे कि आजाद भारत की और भारत के नागरिकों की जरूरतें बदलेगी, चुनौतियां बदलेगी। इसलिए उन्होंने हमारे संविधान को महज कानून की एक किताब बनाकर नहीं छोड़ा, बल्कि इसको एक जीवंत, निरंतर प्रवाहमान धारा बनाया। साथियों, हमारा संविधान हमारे वर्तमान और हमारे भविष्य का मार्गदर्शक है। बीते 75 वर्षों में देश के सामने जो भी चुनौतियां आई है, हमारे संविधान ने हर उस चुनौती का समाधान करने के लिए उचित मार्ग दिखाया है। इसी कालखंड में आपातकाल जैसा समय भी आया और हमारे संविधान ने लोकतंत्र के सामने आई इस चुनौती का भी सामना किया। हमारा संविधान देश की हर जरूरत, हर अपेक्षा पर खरा उतरा है। संविधान से मिली इस शक्ति की वजह से ही आज जम्मू कश्मीर में भी बाबा साहब का संविधान पूरी तरह लागू हुआ है। आज वहां पहली बार संविधान दिवस मनाया गया है। साथियों, आज भारत परिवर्तन के इतने बड़े दौर से गुजर रहा है। ऐसे अहम समय में भारत का संविधान ही हमें रास्ता दिखा रहा है, हमारे लिए गाइडिंग लाइट बना हुआ है। साथियों, भारत के भविष्य का मार्ग अब बड़े सपनों, बड़े संकल्पों की सिद्धि का है। आज हर देशवासी का एक ही ध्येय है, विकसित भारत का निर्माण। विकसित भारत का मतलब है जहां देश के हर नागरिक को एक क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ मिल सके, डिग्निटी ऑफ लाइफ मिल सके। ये सामाजिक न्याय, सोशल जस्टिस का भी बहुत बड़ा माध्यम है और ये संविधान की भी भावना है। इसलिए बीते वर्षों में देश में लोगों के बीच आर्थिक और सामाजिक समानता लाने के लिए कई कदम उठाए गए हैं। बीते 10 वर्षों में 53 करोड़ से ज्यादा ऐसे भारतीयों का बैंक खाता खुला है जो बैंक के दरवाजे तक नहीं पहुंच पाते थे। बीते 10 वर्षों में 4 करोड़ ऐसे भारतीयों को पक्का घर मिला है जो कई कई पीढ़ियों से बेघर थे। बीते 10 वर्षों में 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा ऐसी महिलाओं को मुफ्त गैस कनेक्शन मिला है जो बरसों से अपने घर में गैस पहुंचने का इंतजार कर रही थी। हमें आज के जीवन में बहुत आसान लगता है कि घर में नल खोला और पानी आ गया, लेकिन देश में आजादी के 75 साल बाद भी सिर्फ 3 करोड़ घर ही ऐसे थे जिनमें नल से जल आता था। करोड़ों लोग तब भी अपने घर में नल से जल का इंतजार कर रहे थे। मुझे संतोष है कि हमारी सरकार ने 5-6 साल में 12 करोड़ से ज्यादा घरों को नल से जल देकर नागरिकों का और विशेषकर महिलाओं का जीवन आसान बनाया है। संविधान की भावना को सशक्त किया है। साथियों, आप सभी जानते हैं कि हमारे संविधान की मूल प्रति में भी प्रभु श्री राम, माता सीता, हनुमान जी, भगवान बुद्ध, भगवान महावीर, गुरु गोविंद सिंह जी सभी के चित्र हैं। भारत की संस्कृति के प्रतीक इन चित्रों को संविधान में इसलिए स्थान दिया गया ताकि वो हमें मानवीय मूल्यों के प्रति सजग करते रहे। ये मानवीय मूल्य आज के भारत की नीतियों और निर्णयों का आधार है। भारतीयों को त्वरित न्याय मिले, इसके लिए नई न्याय संहिता लागू की गई है। दंड आधारित व्यवस्था अब न्याय आधारित व्यवस्था में बदल चुकी है। महिलाओं की राजनीतिक भागीदारी बढ़ाने के लिए नारी शक्ति बंधन अधिनियम का ऐतिहासिक निर्णय हुआ है। हमने थर्ड जेंडर को उनकी पहचान और उनका हक दिलाने के लिए भी कदम उठाए हैं। हमने दिव्यांग जनों के जीवन को आसान बनाने के लिए भी व्यवस्थाएं बनाई है। साथियों, आज देश का बहुत ज्यादा जोर देश के नागरिकों की ईज ऑफ लिविंग पर है। एक समय था जब पेंशन पाने वाले सीनियर सिटीजन्स को बैंक में जाकर साबित करना होता था कि वो जीवित है। आज सीनियर सिटीजन्स को घर बैठे ही डिजिटल लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट्स की सुविधा मिल रही है। करीब करीब 1.5 करोड़ सीनियर सिटीजन्स अब तक इस सुविधा का लाभ उठा चुके हैं। आज भारत वो देश है जो हर गरीब परिवार को 5 लाख रुपए तक के मुफ्त इलाज की सुविधा देता है। आज भारत वो देश है जो 70 वर्ष से ऊपर के हर बुजुर्ग को फ्री हेल्थ केयर की सुविधा देता है। देश के हजारों जन औषधि केंद्रों पर आज 80% डिस्काउंट पर सस्ती दवाइयां मिल रही हैं। एक समय में हमारे देश में इम्यूनाइजेशन की कवरेज भी 60% से भी कम थी। करोड़ों बच्चे हर साल टीकाकरण से छूट जाते थे। आज मुझे संतोष है कि अब मिशन इंद्रधनुष की वजह से भारत में इम्यूनाइजेशन की कवरेज 100% पहुंच रही है। आज दूर सुदूर के गांवों में भी समय पर बच्चों का टीकाकरण हो पा रहा है। इन प्रयासों ने गरीबों की, मध्यम वर्ग की बहुत बड़ी चिंता कम की है। साथियों, आज देश में कैसे काम हो रहा है उसका एक उदाहरण एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट अभियान भी है। देश के 100 से अधिक ऐसे जिले जिन्हें पिछड़ा कहा जाता था, हमने उन्हें एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट माना और वहां हर पैरामीटर में विकास की गति तेज की गई है। आज देश के अनेक एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट दूसरे जिलों से बहुत बेहतर कर रहे हैं। अब इसी मॉडल के आधार पर हमने एस्पिरेशनल ब्लॉक प्रोग्राम भी शुरू किया है। साथियों, लोगों की रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी से परेशानियां खत्म करने पर भी आज देश का बहुत ज्यादा जोर है। कुछ साल पहले तक भारत में 2.5 करोड़ घर ऐसे थे जो शाम होते ही अंधेरे में डूब जाते थे। उन घरों में बिजली कनेक्शन ही नहीं था। सबको बिजली का मुफ्त कनेक्शन देकर देश ने उनके जीवन को रोशन कर दिया है। बीते वर्षों में दूर सुदूर इलाकों में भी हजारों की संख्या में मोबाइल टावर्स लगाए गए हैं ताकि लोगों को 4G, 5G कनेक्टिविटी मिलती रहे। पहले कभी आप अंडमान या लक्षद्वीप जाते थे तो वहां ब्रॉडबैंड कनेक्टिविटी नहीं मिलती थी। आज अंडर वाटर ऑप्टिकल फाइबर ने ऐसे द्वीपों तक भी अच्छी स्पीड वाला इंटरनेट पहुंचा दिया है। हमारे यहाँ गांव के घरों, गांव की जमीन से जुड़े कितने विवाद होते रहे हैं, ये भी हम भली-भांति जानते हैं। पूरी दुनिया में विकसित देशों के सामने भी लैंड रिकॉर्ड एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज रहा है, लेकिन आज का भारत इसमें भी लीड ले रहा है। पीएम स्वामित्व योजना के तहत आज गांव के घरों की ड्रोन मैपिंग की जा रही है और लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट इश्यू किए जा रहे हैं। साथियों, देश के विकास के लिए आधुनिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का तेज निर्माण भी उतना ही जरूरी है। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के प्रोजेक्ट समय पर पूरे होने से देश का धन भी बचता है और प्रोजेक्ट भी, उसकी उपयोगिता भी बहुत बढ़ जाती है। इसी सोच के साथ प्रगति नाम से एक प्लेटफॉर्म बनाया गया है जिसमें इंफ्रा प्रोजेक्ट्स का रेगुलर रिव्यू होता है और इनमें से कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स तो ऐसे होते जो 30-30, 40-40 साल से पेंडिंग थे। मैं खुद इसकी मीटिंग को चेयर करता हूं। आपको जानकर अच्छा लगेगा कि अभी तक 18 लाख करोड़ रुपए के ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट्स को रिव्यू करके उनके सामने की अड़चनों को दूर किया जा चुका है। समय पर पूरे हो रहे प्रोजेक्ट्स लोगों के जीवन पर बहुत सकारात्मक प्रभाव डाल रहे हैं। देश में हो रहे ये प्रयास देश की प्रगति को भी गति दे रहे हैं और संविधान की मूल भावना को भी सशक्त कर रहे हैं। साथियों, मैं अपनी बात डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद जी के शब्दों के साथ समाप्त करना चाहूंगा। 26 नवंबर, आज के ही दिन 1949 में संविधान सभा में अपने समापन भाषण में डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद जी ने कहा था, भारत को आज ईमानदार लोगों के एक समूह से ज्यादा कुछ नहीं चाहिए जो अपने हितों से आगे देश का हित रखेंगे। नेशन फर्स्ट, राष्ट्र सर्वप्रथम की यही भावना भारत के संविधान को आने वाली कई कई सदियों तक जीवंत बनाए रखेगी। संविधान ने मुझे जो काम दिया है, मैंने उसी मर्यादा में रहने का प्रयास किया है। मैंने कोई एंक्रोचमेंट की कोशिश नहीं की है, क्योंकि संविधान ने मुझे वो काम कहा, इसलिए मैंने अपनी मर्यादाओं को संभालते हुए अपनी बात को रखा है। यहाँ तो इशारा ही करना होता है, ज्यादा कुछ कहने की जरूरत नहीं होती है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, आपके गरिमामय उद्बोधन के लिए हम तहे दिल से आपको आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। Finally, I request Honorable Shri Justice Suryakant, Judge, Supreme Court of India, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjeev Khanna, Chief Justice of India, Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Ramakrishna Gavi, Judge Supreme Court of India, my esteemed colleagues from the Supreme Court of India, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, Minister of State of Law and Justice, Union of India, Honorable former Chief Justices of India and Honorable former Judges of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice and Judges of Delhi and other High Courts, Shri R. Venkat Ramani, Attorney General for India, Shri Manan Kumar Mishra, Chairman, Bar Council of India, Shri Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India and other senior law officers of Union of India, Mr. Kapil Sibal, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, senior advocates and other members of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Secretary General and other officers of the Supreme Court, members of the legal fraternity, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar, good evening to all. As we come together today to commemorate 76th year of the Constitution of India in force, we are reminded of the insurmountable journey our nation has undertaken and the trials and tribulations we have overcome. At the same time, today is a day to reflect and remind ourselves that our quest for justice, equality, and progress is an ongoing journey with much more to accomplish. This notion is aptly summed up by a thought-provoking quote by Nelson Mandela, who said, and I quote, "A constitution is the bridge from the divisions of the past to the hopes of the future." Today, India stands proud as a global leader and one of the world's strongest democracies, a covenant to the everlasting strength of our constitution. This charismatic text, codifying the grand norm of a nation, serves as the ultimate equalizer, embracing every Indian with impartiality and safeguarding the rights of each one of us. Indeed, everything in our nation begins and ends with the Constitution, with every rudimentary activity and the freedoms we enjoy being either protected or conferred by the Constitution. To put it very simply, we are because the Constitution is. It is surely the most remarkable legacy bestowed upon us by the visionary drafters who crafted this unparalleled framework of rights and laws. It is to them that we owe our deepest gratitude. With this, I begin my thanksgiving to the numerous stakeholders who deserve our felicitations. I say numerous because the protection and preservation of the Constitution is a collective endeavor, one that thrives through the dedicated efforts of many, not just a select few. I must, at the outset, extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, for gracing this celebration and illuminating us with his profound reflections on the fortitude of our Constitution. On behalf of the Supreme Court of India, I convey our earnest appreciation for the ever continued support extended to Indian judiciary by the Honorable Prime Minister. I impart my ardent thanks to Honorable Chief Justice of India, whose indelible sense of justice and steadfast leadership have made him a pillar of dependability, inspiring confidence and growth. In the same spirit, I wish to acknowledge the inestimable contributions and tenacious dedication of all my esteemed brother and sister judges of the Supreme Court, as well as those serving across the high courts of our nation. Together, the judiciary prevails resolutely as the unwavering guardian of the Constitution and the torchbearer of justice. I sincerely thank Sri Arjun Ram Meghwalji for his consistent efforts to make justice more accessible and his active participation in countless joint initiatives which have been invaluable to our shared mission. I am thankful to the Honorable Chief Justice of India, former judges of the Supreme Court of India who are present here to grace this occasion. It would be remiss of me not to impress upon the tireless perseverance of Shri R. Venkatramani, Attorney General for India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India, Mr. Manan Kumar Mishra, Chairman, Bar Council, Mr. Kapil Sibal, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, other office bearers and members of the Supreme Court Bar, President and members of the Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association, the law officers of the Union of India, senior consuls, the Law Secretary, Government of India, other members of the legal fraternity. We thank them for their assistance to the noble cause of justice. Last but certainly not least, I must commend the relentless dedication and round-the-clock efforts of the officers of the registry and the employees of the Supreme Court. Their hard work not only ensures the seamless execution of events like this, but also the efficient functioning of this court on a daily basis. Without their diligence and zeal, none of these would be possible. With the deep insight shared by all dignitaries today, may the Constitution continue to inspire us and guide us, driving our efforts towards greater progress and unity. As we uphold its principles, let us remain committed to forging a future that reflects the vision of its framers, a nation that continuously evolves, ensuring justice, liberty, and equality for all. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, we come to the end of this program. I request the audience to kindly wait until the Honorable Prime Minister and other dignitaries leave the hall.
सीधा प्रसारण आप देख रहे थे सुप्रीम कोर्ट से संविधान दिवस समारोह 2024 का। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी वहां पर थे और साथ